Good evening, guys. I hope that you are doing well and you are safe in this pandemic. Firstly, thank you so much for your views, your comments, and your subscription. As I mentioned in my previous video, that I'll be explaining about the feedback, especially constructive feedback or effective feedback. So I have prepared some notes. I found these notes are very useful and important. It might help every teacher and student, educator, leaders, to provide the feedback correctly and to understand the importance of the feedback. I'm sure that you are aware all about, but what I have observed and studied, I want to share with you. I found that feedback or student feedback or feedback in education is the most important factor of the learning. Without feedback, learning might affect or it may not be tracked. So I'll be sharing you some important points about the constructive feedback, effective feedback, and how it can be implemented. Watch this video till the end of this lesson. So firstly, if you're going to look at your classroom, we have approximately 20 to 27, 26 students in, or 25 students in each class. And every student have a different background. They belong to different culture. It belongs to different learning needs. They are different in different levels. And they have a different needs. So every learner or every individual must be catered differently, especially in the feedback. When they have a different level of the learning, we prepare different resources, different strategies, different teaching style to satisfy the needs of the student. But at the same time, as a teacher, we have to track that learning. And how we can track that learning or improve students' progress and attainment by providing the constructive or effective feedback. So let's see what are the types of the feedback, do's and don'ts, how we have to give this feedback, and what common mistake we do. So firstly, I have a prepared notes, the types of the feedback. You can provide your feedback verbally, in written, and non-verbally. I'm sure you are aware about the verbally and written, but non-verbally, we provide the feedback. our gestures, our body language. So these gestures and body languages can affect the individual's attitude. Make sure that your body language, your attitude must be in a right way, must have a positive impact on the student. As I have mentioned, that due to the diversity in the classroom, feedback is a very sensitive. You have to deal each and every student carefully or gently. Why? Because we are shaping the learners, we are shaping the minds, we are producing doctors, we are producing engineers, we are producing social workers, that they can maintain the sustainability of our society. So dealing or providing the feedback positively will affect on the reflection of the students. Third thing, second thing, nature of the feedback. Feedback is actually in written, is an explanation what the students have done, either correctly or incorrectly. You are providing the information about that. You are explaining about that, what they have done. As a teacher, as an educator, when you provide the feedback about that assessment, your focus should be on the positive thing or correct one. You have to use the techniques that you could explain that what he or she has to do, but it should not be in the area or in the domain of the criticism, because that will be quite dangerous. So be careful when you are providing the feedback to the students. Make sure that you're focused on positive things more. Third thing, connectivity of the feedback. You should not give a feedback which has no connection on the student's work and the reflection. You should not provide the feedback that has no connectivity with the student's learning target. I'm talking about the curriculum target. So your feedback is tracking the whole grade level's curriculum. It's not about what you have done good, what you have done bad. It means you are capturing the student's learning. So this is the most important thing and very sensitive. While you're providing the feedback, make sure at the same time you are capturing or tracking the students' learning throughout the year. Fourth thing, you have to provide the feedback timely. It must have a patterns. What type of the pattern? You have to provide immediate feedback after the assessment, after the class, or whenever a student has done their reflection. You have to provide the feedback quickly. Why? Because the information you are correcting or the information you are providing the feedback on, student must be aware about. If you will provide them immediately, they have that information in their mind, that they can understand what exactly the teacher wants and what exactly teachers are highlighting, that he or she should improve. Fifth thing, you have to focus on few questions. What, while you are providing them, what your students can do, what your students cannot do. You must be aware about that. Second thing, you should compare the work with others. Suppose if you have providing the feedback to the low learner, you should compare with the other low learners or the high learner in order to find the gap. Because you're tracking the learning. And the last and most important feedback, what they can do better and how they can do better. This is the most important. You are suggesting, when I mentioned, I'm keep mentioning tracking means you are suggesting the students what they have to improve. Another thing, sixth one, your feedback should highlight that what skills they need to improve or what specific knowledge they need to improve, how they can improve and what they can improve. And that should be a skill or a specific knowledge, because you're tracking the curriculum. So in what skills your students are good and what skills they need to improve, you have to focus on it. So your feedback must contain the skills and specific knowledge. This is the another thing. Now, keep the balance in the feedback. As I mentioned that your students have a different nature of the learning and level of the learning. So the feedback must be different. And I have mentioned that it's a very sensitive, so you have to deal gently. So keep the balance throughout the class. You cannot focus on an individual, only a few students, and the rest of you have to ignore. That has a serious consequences, and it might affect on individual's person's life. And last, I must mention do's and don'ts. I have wrote some. You first do's. You should encourage the students. Your feedback should be encouragement. There should be a positive feedback. There should be a positive focus of the what we call on the skills and specific knowledge. There should be a continuity in the feedback. There should be a compliment, use of compliment. Don't discourage your students. Avoid negativity. Avoid criticism. Do not delay the feedback. These things you should not do. Finally, this is the most important thing you should focus on. The type of feedback we provide. Very good, good, excellent, marvelous, bravo, wonderful, extraordinary, weak, low achiever, poor. The first part, as I have mentioned, the positive feedback, it's not a feedback. There's a big difference between feedback and praise. Your feedback should define the next level, next stage. However, excellent, good, very good, bravo, these are the words we use for the praise, for motivation. They don't define any skill, they don't define it. These are the common mistakes we do. That we write in the copybooks in written, very good, excellent, bravo, marvelous, wonderful, put the stars, and we say we have a given the student doesn't know what they have to do next, parents doesn't know. don't know what they have to do the next. So your feedback should be should define the skills and the specific knowledge. However, there's a big difference between the praise words and the constructive feedback. Second, weakness, fail, poor. These are the criticisms. They don't define what stage they have to improve. And this criticisms comes in the domain of the negative. So we should avoid the using words fail, poor, weak. They don't have any credibility in education. They demoralize all the students. Fail, what does it mean? We don't have, the word in the dictionary fail. Every students, they have their own learning learning abilities. Some students, they are good in particular skills and some and others. So if they are not a good in some skill, we cannot say that they are failure. So we should stop using these words and we should understand what is the difference between criticism and praising words and using the feedback correctly. I hope this information will be useful for all. Please, your comments and your feedback will be highly appreciated. If you like this video, if you want more videos, press the bell icon button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel Teaching and Learning. We'll be meeting in the next class or in the next lesson with a new theme. Stay blessed and stay safe.